Hey, defense got the reps in the day, especially Willie. He was an animal down the third base, locking it down. Nice job. Hey, that is how you touch down in H-Town and win the series. Let's f***ing go. Let's go!
Probably the best way to describe it is you are right in the thick of it. You know, it starts the grind of the summer. You know you're getting into those months where you start to separate, hopefully, yourselves from other clubs. You start to really understand who your team is, and ultimately, hopefully for us, get as healthy as we can be, get some guys on the field, and start to perform the way we know we can overall. Our pitching has been fantastic. Ultimately, we now want to match that up with some of our offense, and hopefully it'll keep tracking in the right direction.
Going back at the wall, that's gone! Alex Kirilloff, 2 for 2 and 2 home runs.
I feel like this is something a lot of people will relate to. You know, I know I've only been in the state of Minnesota for not a really long time, but I can get a feel that people will relate to this because I hear about fishing from a lot of the staff, a lot of the players, and then like if it keeps becoming like a good thing, you know, it's easy enough for someone to show up at a baseball field during the summertime wearing a vest, or someone can add a fun touch to it with a bucket hat or something.
I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I actually thought about that the other night. Like this is probably, I mean, these are the days, you know what I mean? You think about the days, like these are the days for me.
If I didn't have baseball, I don't know what I would be doing. I don't know. I wouldn't be having as much fun. I don't think I'd have a smile on my face every single day like I do.
It is a complete dream come true, absolute surreal. You know, I remember going to Twins Fest, going to games, watching my heroes on the mound. You know, I'm out there doing the same thing. Like, it's unbelievable.
And for some players, when you talk about behind the scenes, some of their kids are getting out of school and they're coming up here and they're now going to spend the summer in the Twin Cities and being part of it. And that's great for the players. They love that. It energizes them. The weather's really turned. We're in those summer months. It's great at night, every night here at Target Field. So they love it. They love this part of the season because they know this is the part where it might not be fall baseball yet. It might not be October, but this is how you set yourself up for hopefully a deep run into the fall. You try and remind yourself a lot that it's a marathon filled with a lot of short sprints, and that's the way we look at it. Every night is a sprint. We're trying to win every game. We're trying to put ourselves in a position to win every night. That said, you have to think about it in bigger picture chunks, and I think our players have done a really nice job of recognizing that even when you have a couple of tough games, you show up the next day the same way, with the same preparation and the same approach to that night's game, and you give yourself a great chance. We hadn't been playing as well rolling into Houston, one of the best teams for the last decade in Major League Baseball, and then to go take 2 of 3 down in Houston, to play tough late in those games, to find a way to win, to battle back, to win a tough Cleveland game and a big division game. Those are things that if you prepare every day the same way, even if you didn't have a good day the day before, you give yourself a shot that night.
I think it'll feel just as good, if not better, than the first big league debut call, because it'll truly be like a new debut, a new fresh start, kind of, in a way, to me, just based on how I feel about it. You know, it was like, yeah, I had my debut last year, but I feel like it all just came crumbling down when I got injured, and it felt like it only was like a brief little like tease of a dream come true, and so I hope to make that dream come true for a lot longer period of time.
When you are picked first overall, ultimately, you immediately have a target on your back. That's the reality of this game. How you handle that, how you go through the ups and downs of performance and otherwise, it is challenging. And for other players who've gone first overall, they talk about it sometime later in their career. Royce is right in the middle of that now. He was that pick. He did perform early. He did get injured and deal with some issues in the minor leagues. He got injured again and ultimately had to come back and fight through that rehab. The smile on his face never has changed. even through all of those tough moments, those down moments. And when he shows up in a game, in a big game like he did against Cleveland here, and ultimately drives in 2 runs there to tie a game late in a game, in an important game, with that smile on his face running around the bases, that energy is infectious. And I think that that's something that he brings to the park every day. And I've told him whether he's going good or not, he needs to bring that kind of energy and that kind of smile every day, because it'll help a teammate. It'll help someone else. It'll help a coach if he does that every day. And we don't want to put the weight on the world on a young kid's shoulders like that, but we certainly want to lean on him to be a part of something that hopefully will be special for a lot of years to come.
It means a lot to us players that like you get a little standing ovation or just acknowledgments of like a good job, a job well done, of like congratulations, you've made it, or anything, because it means a lot, man. It's because it's just real, and we're human too. And
we were friends back then, and I think we're even closer friends now. I think we've gone through a lot of similar things in terms of injury, and we've gotten to spend a lot of time together on and off the field. You kind of have to pause a little bit and just soak it in, because it was something that you're kind of hoping and dreaming about, back in those days. And obviously we had a lot of fun back then, and talked about obviously wanting stuff like this to happen in the future, and it's pretty cool and special. And I think we both feel blessed and fortunate, and really grateful for the way things are going right now. And we just want to continue to help the team whichever way we can. And
second family. It's a family now. Like, this is someone I grew up with since I was basically 18, 17 years old, and literally right out of high school going straight to per se the pro ball. And some of these coaches and staff I've been playing with since I was literally 18 years old. Toby Gardenhire, Ramon Borrego, like those are my first coaches, and so it's truly special for me. And I take it like it's a family, and these are all my best friends and brothers of mine.
Yeah, with Alex, I think back to when we were talking about him in spring training, and I think I wanted to minimize the expectations a bit, because coming off that surgery, going through some of those challenges, you just don't know how you're going to respond. But I knew Alex was the type of kid who was going to do everything he could to put himself in a position to be successful. And we hoped that from a health standpoint, everything would track. The surgeons did a great job. Our docs, the medical staff did a great job preparing him for what he would need to do, adjustments he would need to make. And now we're sitting here today, and Alex is right in the middle of our lineup, making an impact every night.
that was special. That was definitely a fun moment, one that'll definitely stick out in my mind. Like I said before, anything you can do to help the team win, and that being that day is definitely a special moment for me.
Hitter of the game goes to the guy today who hit the ball, I think 3 times over 100, didn't get rewarded each time, had a walk, and just quality bats all around. AK.
Thank you guys, it was a lot of fun today. Let's just keep going, stick with our process. A lot of good hitting, good pitching, good defense, and that's what wins ball games. So let's keep stacking them.
Team vibes are good. We got some really good leaders in that clubhouse with Buck and Correa and Royce. Royce has been kind of a jolt of energy for the clubhouse and for the dugout. Well, it was a long road. 2 elbow surgeries within 10 months of each other in 21 and 22. So I signed a 2-year minor league deal last July. And after the 2 elbow surgeries that I had, I was coming back and I started throwing hard in the bullpens that I was throwing at Tread Athletics down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And started sending my info and my video out to some teams. And a couple weeks later, I had compiled 5 minor league offers, 5 2-year minor league offers. And Twins was the best offer. And the fact that I had some familiarity from the Dodgers organization, now with the Twins, assistant general manager Jeremy Zoll, director of player development Drew McPhail, a couple other players, a couple of hitting coaches. There's some familiarity there, and I truly believe I made the right decision because I'm here now helping the big league team, and couldn't be more thrilled.
that's a real credit to the staff in player development, to a player personnel group that finds those types of players and tries to find a way to make them better. And I think in Brock, this was a heralded guy, a few years ago in the minor leagues, someone who we kept an eye on. And ultimately, he's gone through some ups and downs from a health standpoint and from a performance standpoint. But we saw the pitches, we saw some things that he could do to get better. Now you're seeing a guy that's throwing the ball about as hard as anybody in our pen, and ultimately throwing a breaking ball now that's continued to develop and evolve. Coming into that game in Houston the other night, even though we had a good-sized lead, but it was a big spot, middle of their order, facing guys like Yordan Alvarez and Alex Bregman, to come in and just pitch the way he did, to get the swing and miss that he did in a big spot. It will only hopefully add to the group that we have toward the back end of games that'll close out some really close wins for us.
I had a kid too, so maybe some dad strength had something to do with it as well. No, I worked hard, so I think it's just another example of hard work paying off.
We were really bullish on the pitching staff as a whole, both in the bullpen and the starting rotation as we started the season. And the reason that we felt that way, and certainly as I looked at the group that we had, I didn't think we had 5 major league starters. I thought we had 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 major league starters, guys that could pitch up here in the big leagues to start the season. And those are difficult conversations when you break spring training and you say, hey, you've got to go down to AAA and stay ready because there will be that moment when we need you. Well, that's exactly what Bailey Ober did, and that's exactly what Louie Varland did, and they've stepped up for us and ultimately shown that they can pitch here too, and they can make us better. So if we can continue to build off of what Joe Ryan and Sonny Gray and Pablo Lopez and guys like that have done with some of the younger starters that are coming along and getting a healthy Kenta back here soon, hopefully we can really deepen that group because we know we're going to need it through the season.
A memory of the Metrodome. I remember going to the game, we're sitting on our, like on the third base side, towards the bullpen, and I was pestering Juan Rincon for a ball, hammering him with whatever. I was that annoying ball kid. I didn't say please, and I have a rule now that I tell every kid that you gotta say please. I didn't say please. I was hammering him with questions, and eventually he just pointed to me and pointed at me and told me to sit down. And then I sat down, I shut up, and then eventually, after he was done warming up, he flipped me a ball, and that was like my core memory of the Metrodome.
It's a really cool thing for him and for his family. You think about his mom and dad and uncles and aunts and cousins and everybody who gets a chance to turn on the television at home in their living room at night and watch their family play right down the street. I mean, that's a dream come true for a young kid. And I will tell you, Louie Varland doesn't take any day here for granted. It's just the way he is. He's as hard a worker. You talk about Royce Lewis and his smile. I think Louie Varland has just as bright a smile most days when he walks through in the clubhouse, and that's a credit to the work he's put in because he was much less heralded than Royce Lewis as a young player. He was a much lower draft pick, so he had to earn kind of every step of the way coming through the minor leagues, and he's done so and even done more than any of us could have expected.
I've learned a lot. I am a firm believer with every player, every coach, you have something to learn from them and take after them. It's been incredible talking with them on the bench, watching them work and watching them work and pitch on the mound and pens and everything.
I said yesterday, I'll say it again for everyone today. Louie Varland, the way he pitched in the game yesterday, the quick innings that he had, the way he threw strikes after their guy had to work very, very hard to get through his innings. He deserves one of the offensive game balls.
You know, with Royce and other minor league teammates, I think when you kind of scope out and watch, you kind of watch everyone mature. I think early on in the process, some professional baseball guys are learning a lot how to respond to success and failure, and obviously now kind of applying it at a higher level and on a bigger stage and whatnot is pretty cool to watch come to fruition.
Well, shoot, if you look at our roster, I think we're loaded. I really do think we're loaded. So we've shown that we can beat the Yankees in a season series. We can beat the Astros in a season series. So I think the sky's the limit for this team.
You know, this is a fun team. This is a team that every night you could see something spectacular on the field. Now that school's out, the weather's turned, there's no better place to be than Target Field on a summer night.
I love being in first place. I love that. That's a starter.
This is the time of year to be a baseball fan, the time of year to really get to know the team, to get to enjoy the team, and then ultimately to support it, hopefully through a long run into the fall.
We want Target Field to be kind of a home field advantage for the Twins. So if you guys could be loud, that'd be great. Put some fear into the other team.
Like, you have to be there to watch these guys play. It's just different, and they're much bigger, much more powerful in person.
And the Twins win. The Twins walk off the Guardians.
Great baseball, great pitching, You can't beat Minnesota weather, and what better place to enjoy the Minnesota weather than here at Target Field.